I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Monogatari Second Season, Episode 3. I'm going to make a prediction. This is the end of Tsubasa Tiger. Some things come in threes. This could be one of them.
You have a point there. I think that at least if you wanted to latch onto anything in the story, to get to growth and to get to moving on past something, a part of your life, and growing into who you want to be, you have to acknowledge that you want to. You have to be ready to. You have to be aware that you've been stagnant. And we have a Hanakawa in this past episode that we had watched that is like, I haven't changed at all. I'm looking at these people that are maturing and changing and growing, and I have not done that. And so she's aware of what needs work and what she needs to look in on and what she needs to change about herself to get on whatever level that the people around her are now on, the one that she admires and maybe is even envious of.
Yeah, that's
And
a big one for me.
That's the biggest step that you need to take toward actually, making it possible.
It was great seeing Black Hanakawa and Senjukahara officially meet. That was fantastic. I wonder if we'll see it again. I don't know.
I think one thing from last episode that I'm also a little curious about is it was very quick, but Senjukahara gets on the phone and is like, you're going to need a place to stay, until your parents are able to get a house. And she's like, oh, should I tell you who I'm calling? Oh, I guess I won't tell you who I'm calling.
Interesting.
So that's something I'm curious about.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
Yeah. Very true.
Motive? Oh, I love this. For me.
Wow, okay.
It's like we're listening to Oshino. Do you complain because you're human?
Part. She's too tolerant to complain.
Ah. Based off of what happened freshman year?
In his past. Or it just doesn't matter. Welcome it.
Cool.
Oh!
The cat. I love it so much. I love it.
The empty pages of that book mean so much more than just being pure white. Having no opinions fits with that.
Oh my god. I love this episode already.
Were we using sugar cubes?
Yep.
To tell our story?
I love sugar cubes.
Because they're sugar?
I used to eat them. That I feel like isn't that weird. The thing that I think is that weird is that I used to drink like the half and half cups at on tables at restaurants when I was a little kid. I think
sure that there are other kids that do that.
I hope. I could see like a magical girl transformation at the end of Tiger,
Mm-hmm.
I hope that doesn't mean she dies. Leaving the glasses behind.
We're saying we don't believe she's a saint. But look, she's about to become one.
Jesus. Nice landing.
Our hair's like the same length now.
I love Kambaru's voice actress. Okay.
Tonight at 9. Ooh,
There's something I
wait.
need to ask you. Or something yeah.
そうなのか？実はさっき電話をひっきりなしにかけてたんだけど
Interesting.
繋がらない。つまりこれはデートの誘いという。
I mean, we've had to almost propose marriage multiple times, so.
いや、文面的にもっとシリアスなものだとは思わないの？そうかそうか。
I love seeing it from Kambaru's perspective.
荒木先輩に呼び出されたのならばぜひもない。私は万難を排して荒木先輩の呼び出しに応じよう。万難を排して。家が火事になったと聞いて落ち込んでいるかと思ったが、別段そんなこともないようで安心したぜ。さすが羽川先輩だ。本当に知っていたのか。ではご分を。筋違いだ。荒木くんは必然性があってカンバルさんにメールを打ったに違いないのだから。
I'm being unreasonable.
カンバルさんに助力を求めたことについてものを思うのは筋違いだ。
That's why I think I'm being unreasonable.
朝使わせてもらった食材の補充にスーパーに寄ってたから。
Father?
Yeah.
羽川翼です。すみません。昨晩は止めていただきました。カンバルにメール。なんと不愉快な。私を差し置いて荒木くんに。
I was wondering if we were going to tell her.
どうしてやろうかしら。まずは内臓を。戦場からさん。
You're regressing.
戻ってる。おっと。多分理由があるんだと思うよ。だって私や戦場ヶ原さんと違ってカンバルさんは左腕に怪異を残している。
It must be information only she could.
I wonder if it has to do with Kaiki or her family.
左腕が必要ということなのかしら。その待ち合わせ場所に行くの？行かないの？
I feel like we are.
そこに行けば荒木くんには会えるわけでしょ。行ったら邪魔しちゃいそうな気もするし。
You could help in a fight.
Then I won't go either.
そうこそカンバルの猿の時と違って何か隠し事をしようとしているというわけでもなさそうだし。行かないの？
We've downed that Pocky, bro.
しかし体に怪異を残しているのはどうやら荒木くんとカンバルだけじゃなかったみたいだけど。え、他に誰かいるの？
Oh.
私たちの周りに残っている怪異って荒木くんの鬼とカンバルさんの猿だけでしょ？その通りにゃ。おっと、来たよね。
They're
Ew.
here. It's the sisters.
You think? It has to be.
It's the sisters!
Trump card.
Mhm.
Do
Do you see her
my
wrapped around braid?
God. It's beautiful.
こんな会話があったらしい。カレンさんじゃない？こんなところで会うなんて偶然ね。おお、そういうあんたは戦場ヶ原さんじゃねえか。そして私の家の前で会うだなんて。あれ、でも戦場ヶ原さん、学校は？
She has the flu.
何それ？いや、知らないならいいんだけど。嘘嘘知ってるわよ。ガハラジョークよ。あ、そういえば知ってる？羽川さんの家が火事になったこと。え？正義の味方ファイヤーシスターズの実践担当。この町の平和を一身に担う荒木カレンさんともあろう人がそんな大事件を知らないはずがないわよね。
Oh.
Yep.
知ってる知ってる。なんなら今から翼さんを訪ねてお見舞いをお見舞いしようかと。
Perfect. We can set that up.
でも焼け出されちゃって彼女今晩寝る場所もないのよ。知らなかった？いや、知ってた知ってた。今私の方からその話題を振ろうと。
We are manipulating them into welcoming her into their home
でも本当不思議よね。
and make it their idea.
さんみたいないい子がぐっすり眠れるベッドがこの世にない。理不尽もこれ極まれりといった感じだ。実は私は今日は学校を休んで羽川さんの寝床を探しているというわけなのよ。おっとごめん。
Executed to perfection.
話しても仕方のないことだったわね。だってカレンさんはあの荒木暦の妹。
Oh shit.
所詮はただの中学生なんだから。
Oh my god.
We're like ending with insults.
大好きなお兄ちゃんがいなきゃ何もできないカレン、こんなことを話しても迷惑だったわね。羽川さんの寝床同様、この世に正義がないということも分かったことだし。
Jumped on the wall on its own.
翼さんの寝床はある。 して正義もある。そんなわけで私は荒らぎ家に来ていた。
Karen's a pride trooper.
大体水っぽいんだよな、翼さんは。寝る場所もね
I think she means reserved.
どっかに私を頼ってくれればよかったんだ。いやもう私は翼さんが自分から
Oh yeah, of course.
ないって言うならうちにいくらでも泊まっていってよ。都合のいいことにお兄ちゃんが今お留守だからさ。
Fortunately.
の部屋を使って。
Using his room.
でも
What a scenario.
じゃあお言葉に甘えてお世話になるね。よろしくお願いします。そうだ、何日もお世話になる以上、さすがにご両親にご挨拶をしないわけにはいかないよね。それは大丈夫だと思うよ。私たちとそれにお兄ちゃんのパパとママの性格もそれなりだよ。
I would love to meet them one day.
That makes me want to meet them.
持ち主だから困っている人に出ていけなんて言わないよ。カレンちゃん、月日ちゃん。
That's some like family lore.
聞きたいんだけど、前にお父さんとお母さん共働きだって言ってたよね。うん。お仕事は何をされているのかな。警察官。
Oh!
も
Okay.
ちろん一悶着あった。荒木夫妻は
I feel like we're only gonna see the bottom halves of their bodies. Like we don't even deserve to see their faces.
ではなかったけれど、最終的には私の宿泊にお許しを出してくれた。確かに荒木くんの両親という感じだった。なんというか、ファイヤーシスターズの正義感につけ込んだみたいで、
Yeah.
以上の後ろめたさを感じざるを得ない。戦場ヶ原さんは全部自分で背負ってくれたのだ。
Do you think there's a second motive from Senjugahara for her to be here?
She's staying in Aragi's room.
私は自分から助けを求めるようなこと。星野さんが言うところの人は勝手に
Ooh.
助かるだけとは、そう。多分私は
I've probably abandoned myself.
一人で助かろうとも思っていない。闇に鈍く、野生として。
I'm a failure in the wild. You'd get eaten by that tiger.
ここに頭がいい人っていうか、スポーツでも何でもいわゆる一流の人って意外と普通の人だったりして、 オーラとかも全然なかったりするんだよ。
They don't need to put on airs.
つまり本物だからこそ飾らないってこと。
Oh.
The idea of the real thing.
このパジャマ男物じゃない？ああ、それ兄ちゃんの。ぐは。じゃあおやすみなさい、翼さん。おやすみなさい、羽川さん。また明日ね。
What a situation to be in.
それにしたってくんのパジャマを着て荒木くんのベッドに潜って荒木くんの枕に頭を添えているのだと思うと全然寝つけずてっぺんを回った頃だったと思うけれど荒木くんのことを責められない。あえてしまう私ははしたない。さて
Get to work.
どうしたもんかにゃ。そして俺が出てきている以上ご主人がまたにゃんらかのストレスを抱えていることは確かにゃんだがが原因だと決めつけていたけどどうも火事の件だけじゃにゃさそうだよにゃ。
All there was to it.
ご主人が寝ている間だけ限定で登場できるというのは前の2回は俺を引っ込めるためだけにあいつらずいぶん苦労してたからにゃ。はあ、あのちびっこい吸血鬼の力を借りたりにゃ。誰がちびっこい吸血鬼じゃ。
What?
久しいの猫。
What?
うぬが我が主様の部屋におるのかは知らんが。
You aren't with Aragi?
What are you doing here?
水というものか。あのアロハでもあるまいし。そもそもお前確かあの人間や
Yeah.
閉じ込められてたんじゃにゃかったのかにゃ。まあそうなのじゃがな。現在わしと我が主様、つまり押野忍と荒木暦とのペアリングは切られておる。切られて自宅に戻っておるかとも思ったのじゃが淡い期待じゃったようじゃの。うぬがおったというのじゃからこりゃ江戸の敵を長崎で撃ったような気分じゃわい。お前の主様にゃら例の学習塾跡にいたはずにゃ。例の猿の女と待ち合わせ。待ち合わせ
Can I ask another oddity for help, not me?
This late in the game.
そうか、なるほどな。主様にしては考えたようじゃな。
This is so awesome.
The lineage.
The lineage!
You literally.
この意識。いや、良い情報を教えてくれた。褒めて使わすぞ。気晴らしにうぬの血を吸ってやろうかと思っておったが。
Is there an exchange?
やめておくことにする。今回はちょっと事情が違うにゃ。今回の俺にはきっとれっきとした使命があるはず。わからにゃいけれど。なるほどな。うぬは新種の怪異のようなものじゃが軽々に判断すべきではないか。言うなれば前回までのうぬと今回のターミネーターとターミネーター2みたいな。
Never seen either of them. Fuck.
その例えは理解しやすいが、しかし吸血鬼 前が使っていいものにゃのか。どっちにしてもわしがウヌの血を吸うというのは古速療法というか、所詮はその場しのぎにしか過ぎんからの。そうにゃ。それにこうやって当たり前みたいに堂々と表に出てきちゃいるが、俺はあくまでもご主人の裏人格にゃ。そんなもんは表裏一体みたいなもんなのじゃがの。我が主様も大概じゃが、どうもうぬもうぬでいらんとこ。これは500年生きたわしの眼蓄ある思い出話として黙って聞け。
Okay.
Shut up and listen.
の逸話なのじゃが、
Napoleon.
実は1日にたった3時間しか。家庭は風呂好きで有名でな、6時間以上風呂に入っておったという話じゃ。わしはこの2つの話を知った時思ったんじゃよ。いやいや、大風呂の中で寝てたじゃろ。ああ、なるほど。つまるところ、別々の事柄のように思えることでも案外つながっておるのかもしれん。表と裏を分離して考えることなど意味はない。ウヌは確かに羽川翼から人格的にその両者に確たる違いなどないとわしは思う。俺とご主人がおにゃじか。礼というにゃら俺の質問に一つ答えてくれにゃいか。早くせんと、あの解消なしは今度こそ殺されてしまう。
What the fuck?
虎の怪異を知ってるか。虎？ああ、虎にゃ。この町をうろついているのにゃん。虎の怪異などいくらでも。
There are plenty of tiger
わしが知
oddities.
っておるだけでも相当数じゃし、も合わせるとなれば優に50は超える。
Wow.
でかい虎にゃ。虎は大概でかい。あと喋るにゃ。喋る？動物型なのに喋る怪異か。それはなんというか珍しいの。そんな正体不明の怪異が町をうろついておれば、わしが気づかぬはずがないのじゃが、その虎を見たということなのか。そうにゃ。いや、
What a shot.
それ以前に俺のご主人が見たにゃ。その辺が焦点なのかもしれんぞ。つまりウヌたちにしか見えん怪異。
Whoa.
しか見えん虎。
Is it you? Is it a third personality?
すまんな。礼はまた考えておく。
A 3-sided coin? Like, what the fuck?
おい、吸血鬼。なんじゃ、猫。送っていってやるにゃ。俺にとっては大した手間じゃにゃい。でも30分は短縮できるぞ。頼んでよいか。もちろん、頼んでいいにゃん。
I didn't know I needed this.
Me either.
I didn't know that I wanted this
I
until
love the
now.
electricity. One fell swoop. It's like Neferpito.
あったのは燃えかすだった。
What?
かつて荒木暦と忍野忍が隠れ家とし、忍野めめが数ヶ月にわたって生活し、戦場ヶ原ひたぎ、カンバル駿河や戦国ニャデコにとっても思い出深い
Burned remains.
廃墟は
There's something else going on with the fire. Black Hanakawa was kind of piecing that together herself.
全焼していたのにゃ。
Burned
What?
to the ground. What the fuck?
This is so unpredictable. This is crazy. This is such like fresh new ground in Monogatari even. You know what I mean?
We just got that line from Black Hanakawa about the fact that there seemingly was like more than she originally thought to at least Hanakawa's feelings currently or about the fire. And we still don't know exactly what the source was. It was just easy to latch on to the tiger being like somewhat connected somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But if only the two of them can see the tiger, that definitely gives the tiger didn't cause the fire to me.
Severed link between Oshino, Shinobu, and Araragi. Like,
But they severed the link, and yet still Shinobu wanted to go find Aragi to help him. So they had to sever the link for some part of a plan.
not necessarily. Let's say three of them were in a triangle facing against one person, and you needed three of them in a triangle to beat that one person, and the one person had the power to disperse them into completely different spots just to be able to take on Araragi.
Like there's 3 buttons and you need them all to be
Yeah.
pushed at the same time in different parts of the room kind of vibe. Okay.
And it's like a race between Oshino and Shinobu trying to get back to Araragi while he's holding out, you know? Because think about the risk that Shinobu said that Araragi's taking this time.
We want Hanakawa to be able to see true darkness.
What?
A Meowjurji.
Thank you. Okay, fuck
part
me.
4.
Okay, that was Monogatari Second Season Episode 3. I wrote a lot of notes for this episode, but over a third of them are not here because my pen ran out of ink and I wasn't looking down when I was writing. So that's a bit sad.
It is.
God, there's so much this episode. This is one of my favorite episodes. I love it. I feel like the ending, the nail clippers thing was a little too close to the toothbrush thing. I think that in another world, I don't know. It
that
just seems
scene
consistent.
would have been different.
Yeah. I don't know.
What a thing to go to.
It was the last thing we saw.
I know, I just wasn't expecting it. Oh,
Man.
I can still be surprised. So, what do you want to talk about? Other than that, obviously.
Let's start with big things that don't have too much depth. Police officers.
Oh yeah, parents are police officers.
Massive reveal. Huge. I love
right.
it. Makes tons of sense. And I'm just happy that we got it. The idea that it was the sisters telling us, they were both in frame, like it, perfect.
It honestly, like, I feel like I can understand some of the things that we picked up in this episode that we feel like we could apply to Aragi's younger years before we really even meet him, which is the idea, which we'll get into more, of how it is to be a good person walking around in the world, and people being able to perceive you as such then can lead to you being taken advantage of. And if you're raised by fighters for justice, people who are, you know, just like the characters we've met, their parents are apparently just like them. They obviously raised them to be this way. They are the reason that the children are this way. And honestly, it makes a lot more sense now. And I feel like I'm kind of getting a fuller picture with both things from the conversation between Senjigahara and Hanakawa this episode, to also learning kind of more actual lore about the family dynamic.
Yeah. Another thing that's just easy to point out without getting into even my notes is I don't know if we've ever had an episode of Monogatari that we've seen so many of the characters at the same episode. How many like characters do we get? We get Senjigahara, we get Senjigahara's dad, we get Shinobu, we get Kambaru, we get both of the sisters. Like it's absurd the amount of characters that we've gotten in this episode.
It probably is one of the episodes that's like up there in terms of amount.
Yeah.
There was definitely like one episode in the past where we see like quick glimpses of a lot of them running around doing what Araragi asked of them.
That's fair.
But this was probably, in terms of like actually having a substantial role.
Yeah.
And not just being like, here's a quick 5-second clip of them running around a staircase doing what Araragi asked. Like, this is definitely more substantial roles in the episode.
I loved, and I'm thankful for Senjigahara for kind of breaking the illusion of the joke of what she was referring to in the food manga. And she was like, oh, it's just like that, and being vague about it for the bit, but then said it was Oishinobo. I don't know what that is, but thank you, Senjigahara, and I will look it up at some point and try to catch up so I can understand your game.
I've only seen one cooking anime, and that is Food Wars. So I didn't know what she was gonna say.
I think I watched the first episode of Food Wars with you, and that's it. Another thing, just going chronologically there, taking advantage of like the conversation about Araragi and his past, and how Araragi, it's easier to be the villain from that point of view, was something that I loved, especially knowing what came after and how fucking hard Senjigahara went against Hanakawa. It was like kind of just like no rules, no DQ, let's fight, like kind of talk Senjigahara was taking the approach of, and I adored it.
I feel like her verbal approach is mirrored completely by her approach in terms of what she sets up for Hanakawa. Like, she's not only like verbally approaching Hanakawa in a way that is incredibly like real and harsh at the same time. She's literally set up a situation where she put Hanakawa in the bedroom of the person that Hanakawa is saying that she loves, that we're talking about in this conversation about the actual differences between the two. And I feel like you're really kind of pushing someone in front of a mirror, or if anything, you're pushing them in front of the person that you're saying they're a distorted mirror of.
Yeah.
And kind of highlighting those differences between the two people by literally putting you in their world, if you will, in their shoes.
I'm sure the difference is the complaining part. So
That's
good, man.
yeah, okay, so like complaining is the difference that is kind of like noted. So obviously like being known to be a good person is dangerous in this conversation because it could lead to that being taken advantage of. But Hanekawa accepts this. That's like one of the parts of the very ending of this conversation is because she accepts everything, she of course accepts this fact.
Yeah, you aren't wary of stupidity or weakness. Despite knowing that you could be taken advantage of, you don't care and keep doing the right thing, despite knowing that you might stand out in a bad way. You always try to be ethical. In conclusion, I won't say you're a nice person, a saint, or a paragon of virtue. You just don't realize how dangerous darkness is. You'd be a failure in the wild. Like, that shit cuts so deep, and it sticks with her, like, flat out. It's reality now.
Yeah. So like we already, I think one of the lines we can highlight in terms of like, oh, this was a really good part of that conversation was the idea of like Senjugahara even bringing up the idea like, yeah, it's great to be living like an ethical life and be a good person, but also you can stand out in a bad way. Like, unfortunately, you can stand out in a bad way. And it takes me back to Nekomonogatari Black in terms of like Oshino kind of bringing up like she's standing out in a bad way in contrast to her parents. Even though she's representing this like really saintly energy, she's throwing their ugliness back at them. It is then seen as cruel. And if anything, evil then. For her to be that way.
Yeah.
And then I think one of the other lines, like you said, like she holds on to it throughout the episode, is the idea of how dangerous the darkness is.
Yeah.
Like, the tiger is gonna fucking eat you. Don't just walk up to it and let it talk to you.
What show do we watch every single Thursday?
Every single Thursday.
Every single Thursday, what show are we watching currently?
Every single Thursday we watch Full Metal Alchemist.
Watch this.
Wait!
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
Wait, what is the dialogue? Wait, she's just doodling them?
Then she's looking at... my attention was drawn to the scribbles in Senjugahara's notebook.
Is that why Senjugahara brings up manga in this episode?
What
and then we get some of her taste?
What the fuck is happening? Like, what the fuck is going on?
Are we supposed to read into this more? Like, is Senjugahara informed by Full Metal Alchemist in order for some of her like opinions and takes and how she speaks to Hanekawa in this episode? Obviously, we can't like answer that fully because we haven't finished.
It could be
the
spoilers
series.
to us.
It could be spoilers to read into it too much.
How perfect of a thing is that? That is the craziest shit I've ever seen. Oh my god. That's
honestly insane.
Okay, sorry. When I saw that for a second, every thought that I had thought about this episode just like completely went blank.
I think it makes sense for us to continue with the darkness and talk about that second time that it kind of comes up since we talked about the first.
Okay.
So obviously when it comes up again because it's stuck in her head, she's looking at herself in the mirror, which is just like a great thing for her to be doing at the time that she's thinking what she's thinking, which is where she's realizing that through everything she's been talking to Senjugahara about lately, through everything she's been witnessing, it's pretty clear to herself that she's not only just like not saving herself, like she has abandoned herself. Like that's another phrasing of what it is that she has done. But once you don't save yourself, once you abandon yourself, what you're doing is you're relegating all of the hard work of your life and the security of it and the happiness of it to other people's discretion and other people's hard work. Like she is, even though she's not asking for help, if people care about you or even just they have a strong sense of justice and don't actually care about you as an individual person and just want the right thing to happen, they are going to step in and they're going to do the hard work. Senjugahara does the hard work in this episode. What she does is she takes the role of the villain to manipulate the Araragi sisters
flawlessly
into thinking that it's their idea.
Yeah.
And welcoming her into their home for a sleepover.
Like, yeah, of course, surely you knew about it. Yeah, of course I knew about it. Like, it was perfect. And I...
Oh, but you're just a middle schooler.
Yeah.
You probably need Aragi's, like, you know, he probably needs to make the decision.
God, so good. Another thing that okay, so this episode in particular, we do it all the time, which is like in mid-conversation, cut away to a title card to get like internal monologue.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is the most effective it's ever been in terms of internal monologue through Hanekawa. Like, especially, like, one of the moments was talking to Kambaru and getting Kambaru's like, oh yeah, I heard your house burned down. I'm surprised. I thought you would seem depressed, but I'm happy you're not. And like quick, it's like, huh? Why would she say that? Why did she think that way? It feels so right in this episode.
The trying to understand. Honestly, like, it's like, why is she saying this out loud? Or like, why would she think that I would feel that way?
So I heard your house burned down, but I'm relieved to see that you're doing well. I can't believe she acts like this, even though she knows. Way to go, Hanekawa. No. Did she really know? Why did she say I don't seem to be feeling down? Like, it's so nice to be in Hanekawa's head.
It feels like she's questioning how other people perceive her. She's questioning how much information they know through Araragi, through, obviously, like, oh, I don't have memories from Golden Week or whatever, but she also is really aware of the fact that Araragi knows things about her, other characters know things about her, and I think she's trying to also come to an understanding within this episode, especially spurred on by Senjugahara's conversation of like, how do other people view her? Do they, like, is she, you could be surprised that someone would even think that you would ever seem down because you've never seemed down about anything.
Yeah.
Should she seem down right now because her house burned down? How's she supposed to act in this scenario, you know?
Another part of the episode that I had written down in my notes that I wanted to bring up, this all happened without me asking for help for once. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it's completely different from Oshino's people have to save themselves line of thinking. Like, getting this type of introspection from Hanekawa, I feel like is a direct result from Senjugahara's bluntness and like it's sticking with her.
Like I said, she's not just verbally blunt, but she's literally sticking her in a place where she can't help but think about herself.
Yeah. Yeah, I've probably abandoned myself. I remember the words Senjugahara said to me this morning.
I'd be a failure in the wild is like one of the next lines that she...
I don't look to save myself. I accept the lack of flavor. I don't realize how dangerous darkness is, and I'm a failure in the wild. God damn.
I think it'd be important to call upon what she's doing in that scene as she's recounting what Senjugahara said. There's something about the expression that she's making in the mirror. It's almost, there's also a slight lack of expression, but just even the movement.
Yeah.
It almost seems like the words are really, like, they're hitting her on an emotional level to some extent. Like, she's uncomfortable.
It's almost
with
like
them.
she's breaking character. It's like a exhaustion breaking character. We're getting glimpses of the tiger coming in and out with it too.
Honestly, I think exhaustion's a good word to bring up here, because how exhausted would you be if you have all of this incredible pent up stress that you're then having to release through becoming a cat monster in the middle of the night?
So technically you like never sleep, you know?
And I feel like the exhaustion scenario brings up Shinobu's story later on in the episode.
Napoleon.
So like, I think your read of like that expression seeming like really just kind of tired almost is a good read of it.
God, okay. The last thing we really need to touch on
is the Shinobu Black Hanekawa conversation.
Yeah, and what the fuck is happening with Araragi and Oshino?
We have severed the link. That's honestly like the biggest takeaway of that conversation, is for some reason we have severed the link. But we can also read this as, well, we've severed the link, but Shinobu's still in on this. She's still calling Araragi her master. She's still wanting to be there to help him. It's not like she and Aragi's actual relationship and dynamic has changed.
But at the end of Nisemonogatari, Oshino isn't here. Does this imply that we have met back up with Oshino and Shinobu, Oshino, and Araragi were together and that's the link that's been severed here directly? Or inherently, there is permanently a link that Oshino has with them regardless of where he is?
See, that's a really good point to bring up. I think that I would read it as he came back because there was a reason to come back.
Yeah.
Which, of course, he would come back if there was a reason to come back. He left because there wasn't a reason for him to be there.
Yeah. Apologies for having to cut a bunch during the discussion. Lawnmower outside in the neighbor's yard is very loud.
So we're talking whenever it kind of goes away.
Gosh, the conversation about the tiger and the revelation that only two of them can see it.
Can see it.
Yeah, that makes so much sense, but it's also like, oh my god, what does this mean?
There's something even more distinct to it than just the two of them can see it. Black Hanakawa says, Hanakawa saw it first, and then I saw it.
My Meowster saw it first.
So it had to be, one of the sides of the coin, the original kind of host that is the one that saw this tiger.
Yeah.
And at first we're like, oh, there's a bunch of tigers it could be. Oh no, our problem right now is that we can't narrow it down. Oh, it can talk? Ooh.
That yeah.
I don't know. Now I'm even more confused on an answer to this question. Before we leave that conversation, I really loved Shinobu's entrance. We get Black Hanakawa, well, we get Hanakawa staring at the ceiling and kind of all of the circles on the ceiling, which look like moon phases. And she comes out of the all dark one in the ceiling, which I honestly love that touch. I love that she was like walking on the ceiling. I love the idea of playing with your environment, even though you're in a conversation. Like Black Hanakawa she's a cat character, you know, she's playful. Even though she's locked in a conversation, she's still playing with the rope that's on the ceiling. And I appreciated that touch. It did not distract me. If anything, it like made so much sense for her character.
I thought that it was a flawless execution narratively of like getting one plot point to another. The only way that we can get Hanakawa and Shinobu talking to each other or meeting in this way and then both going to the cram school would be for Hanakawa to be asleep in Araragi's room. And the only way that's going to happen is if Araragi isn't there. And the only way that something is going to make that happen is if there was a separation. But the only way that Hanakawa could be there in the first place is if something happened to her house. If something happened to her house, why wouldn't she be at Senjukahara's? She was already. She's going to a second place. Like, it's perfect.
Not only are characters forcing us into a certain situation.
Yeah.
But circumstance is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope you can't hear it. But yeah, we didn't even bring up the tired part of that conversation was the fun little story about the bathtub naps.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably non-consequential, probably not super important.
No.
No.
Not at all. How are we gonna edit this? Oh. Another thing that I really appreciated this episode that it doesn't fit chronologically was Hanakawa's realization about being jealous about Araragi not asking her for help.
Yeah, right?
Senjukahara had the similar reaction, but it was really, really fucking awesome to see it from Hanakawa.
How is Senjukahara gonna feel? Like, she's like, well, if you're not gonna go to his meeting with Kambaru, then I'm not gonna go, because we'll both be in the way.
Yeah.
But obviously, like, it comes with the idea of, like, are they two sides of the coin? Are they the same person? How similar are humans and oddities? This isn't Hanakawa going, this is Black Hanakawa, but Senjukahara even knows that they're basically the same.
I think that Senjukahara even knew that she was only asking one of the Hanakawas there. Even upon, like, the entrance of Hanakawa showing up after school, it was like a one-for-one shot of Senjukahara and Black Hanakawa in her house. And I'm like, God, Senjukahara is great.
I think you're so right to bring that up.
Here.
Like, Senjukahara is talking to Hanakawa. She's not talking to Black Hanakawa.
Yeah. All right. I think that's all I have.
No, I had two more things.
Okay.
The burning down of things.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, we are both surprised upon arriving to the cram school that it is burned to the ground.
And we have so much history here.
There's so much history here. We know Araragi and both Kambaru, both of them were supposed to be here. We don't know what it is that is the issue, but
Kambaru's family, the lineage.
The lineage, but so that's why we wanted to meet with her and ask a question. But why would our meeting with her to ask a question then be interrupted by something that would cause a burning of a building to the ground? How does this connect to Hanakawa's house being burned to the ground? it can't be.
Does it?
Is it the tiger? Is it connected at all? Shinobu didn't even know about the tiger oddity being in this town, so it's obviously not that in my mind. That is the threat that they're dealing with, that Araragi, Shinobu, and Oshino are dealing with, is not the tiger.
So we get the idea in Hanekawa's head earlier in the episode what we were talking about, like how much does Kanbaru already know about Hanekawa, right? Like, because Hanekawa doesn't know a lot about Hanekawa. And the idea that Araragi or other people are like conversing about her and what her circumstances might be, I'm like, well, could something that's happening, like who texted, who got the text from Araragi that we saw? Is Hanekawa in some way involved in what Araragi's doing, and that is why her house is targeted? Not saying that directly, but whoever that he is dealing with, are they threatening Hanekawa, like, and to Araragi's face? Like, is that another thing that's happening? Like, we get from Shinobu that Araragi's in a lot of danger, and this is the closest he could be to death. Yeah.
Yeah, I think honestly something interesting, you bringing up the idea of like, oh, just her jealousy of not being asked, you know, to be helpful here. I think that something else you can bring up is I could find that she's becoming more discomforted by what was previously something she accepted and tolerated, which was not knowing everything that everyone else knew.
Yeah.
And now it seems like it has her on edge that other people might know more than she even knows. And there's almost like that idea of like, with trauma, there are memories that you could have locked up. That idea of like her not remembering everything maybe fully about herself or about Black Hanekawa, the truths that she could then uncover and then actually be helpful possibly in the story through uncovering whatever the tiger situation is. Could it be something she could save herself from if she was able to remember everything? And so it would take someone that is incredibly accepting and tolerant to be like, you guys hold my memories, I don't need them, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you guys know more about me than I do.
It would need to be, yeah.
Yeah, but now she seems to be more and more in places of discomfort. She puts on Aragi's pajamas, she's like, this, oh shit, discomfort. My last thing, other than like the burning down to the ground idea, is just one of my little favorite moments. It was like super non-consequential. It wasn't like serious to the plot or anything. It was just used as a visual moment. When we're talking about the purity and the whiteness of Hanekawa, we get all of this different imagery of things that are like pure white.
Feathers.
And my favorite was the empty pages in the book.
Yeah.
Because it says more than just the fact that it's an empty white page. It's the item itself being empty says a lot too, and I think it speaks on the ideas of not having likes, interests, opinions,
why do you
or
think,
a story or
why
memories.
do you think she was so distracted by Senju Hara drawing Full Metal Alchemist pages? Because that's her personality.
Look at her empty white notebook.
Hanekawa's is devoid of any person.
And
you
then
know?
Look at like not only notes, schoolwork, but then like doodles from an manga or anime. Like
God, so good.
So that was like a visual that really stuck out to me because it felt like it was like really poetic, actually.
All right. You good?
Yep.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And we hope to see you next time. I cannot believe Full Metal Alchemist made an appearance.
I'm glad you caught that, honestly.
It was... Okay.